Hello and welcome to a discussion of The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. The Mayor of Casterbridge was Hardy's 10th novel, and it shows in the masterly way he handles his story. I'm not sure what I expected when I decided to read this novel at last. I don't know if I expected it to be boring, dry as dust, dull or uneventful, but whatever I thought, all my preconceptions were blown away by this superb story. There could not be a more dramatic opening to any novel. It starts off quietly enough with a young couple walking along a country lane. Michael Henchard is 21 years old and is seeking employment as a hay trusser. He is married to Susan, who is carrying their baby Elizabeth Jane in her arms. When they arrive at Casterbridge, they enter a tent which sells alcohol. Michael drinks heavily and becomes intoxicated, and then declares that he wants to sell his wife, and he holds an auction. An Irish sailor called Newson enters the tent and takes one look at Susan and pays over the 5 guineas that Henchard is asking for her and their child, which both she and Michael accept, although it was meant as a half-serious joke. In the morning, Henchard regrets what he has done and searches the town for his wife and daughter. Unable to find them, he goes into a church and swears an oath that he will not drink alcohol for 21 years, the same number of years he has been alive. After the sailor's death 18 years later, Susan and Elizabeth Jane seek Henchard. Elizabeth Jane believes he is merely a long-lost relative. They arrive in Casterbridge and learn that Henchard is the mayor. The parents meet and decide that in order to prevent Elizabeth Jane from learning of their disgrace, Henchard will court and remarry Susan as though they had met only recently. Meanwhile, Henchard has hired Donald Farfrae, a young Scotchman, as the new manager of his corn business. Elizabeth Jane is intrigued by Farfrae, and the two begin to spend time together. Henchard becomes alienated from Farfrae, however, as the younger man consistently outdoes Henchard in every respect. He asks Farfrae to leave his business and to stop courting Elizabeth Jane. Susan falls ill and dies soon after her remarriage to Henchard. After discovering that Elizabeth Jane is not his own daughter but Newson's, Henchard becomes increasingly cold towards her. Elizabeth Jane then decides to leave Henchard's house and live with a lady who has just arrived in town. This lady turns out to be Lucetta Templeman, a woman with whom Henchard was romantically involved during Susan's absence. Having learned of Susan's death, Lucetta has come to Casterbridge to marry Henchard. While Lucetta is waiting for Henchard to call on her, she meets Farfrae, who has come to call on Elizabeth Jane. However, Lucetta and Farfrae hit it off, and they are eventually married. Lucetta asks Henchard to return to her all the letters she has sent him. On his way to deliver the letters, the messenger Job stops at an inn. The peasants there convince him to open and read the letters aloud. Discovering that Lucetta and Henchard have been romantically involved, the peasants decide to hold a skimity ride, a humiliating parade portraying Lucetta and Henchard together. The event takes place one afternoon when Farfrae is away. Lucetta faints upon seeing the spectacle and becomes very ill. Shortly afterward, she dies. While Henchard has grown to hate Farfrae, he has grown closer to Elizabeth Jane. The morning after Lucetta's death, Newson, who is actually still alive, arrives at Henchard's door and asks for Elizabeth Jane. Henchard tells him that she is dead, and Newson leaves in sorrow. Elizabeth Jane stays with Henchard and also begins to spend more time with Farfrae. One day, Henchard learns that Newson has returned to town, and he decides to leave rather than risk another confrontation. Elizabeth Jane is reunited with Newson and learns of Henchard's deceit. Newson and Farfrae start planning the wedding between Elizabeth Jane and the Scotchman. Henchard comes back to Casterbridge on the night of the wedding to see Elizabeth Jane, but she snubs him. He leaves again, telling her that he will not return. She soon regrets her coldness, and she and Farfrae, her new husband, go looking for Henchard so that she can make her peace. Unfortunately, they find him too late, discovering that he has died alone in the countryside. He has left a will. His dying wish is to be forgotten. So what did I think of this novel? This is one of the best novels that I have read of Hardy's, of which I have read 8 or 9. None of the great Victorian novels is more vivid and readable than The Mayor of Casterbridge. The fast-moving and ingeniously contrived narrative is Shakespearean in its tragic force and features some of the author's most striking episodes and brilliant passages of description. The novel is considered to be one of Hardy's masterpieces, although it has been criticised for incorporating too many incidents, but I thought it was one of its strengths. With several intriguing romantic subplots set against the charming backdrop of rural 19th century England, the novel is a joy to read. It is both accessible and enjoyable. So my rating for this superb novel is A. And now here's a quick recap, and I'll be back soon with another BookTube video.